Okay, we've got a good chunk of people who have joined us today. So thanks very much for joining us for today's webinar on Bankruptcy Plus. It's the second one that we've run. We had a number of people attend the first one, and subsequently plenty of people have asked for another one to be run as well. So thank you. My name's Patrick, and I'm the MD at CreditorWatch. Let's have a quick look at the agenda that we've got lined up today. So a quick introduction to Bankruptcy Plus, looking at why it's beneficial to your business. We'll also have a quick review of some trends and findings that we've seen coming out of AFSA, which is the governing body that looks after bankruptcy information. We'll actually look at Bankruptcy Plus itself from a live demonstration point of view and talk about obviously next step to activating. So I can let you know that in about 15 minutes ago, we actually pushed Bankruptcy Plus live for all of our corporate subscribers. So that would be the majority of you would be deemed as a corporate subscriber, or for those that are customers. For those that aren't, you can actually sign up for a free trial either online or contact your BDM that's potentially been pitching CreditorWatch to you and take advantage of the Bankruptcy Plus free trial that's going on for 2 weeks. And I'll send out an email later this afternoon with a little bit more information about that free trial and exactly how it works. But you're well positioned if you've joined us today to get a better understanding of exactly what Bankruptcy Plus is, how it works, and then log into your CreditorWatch account if you have one and start having a look around to see if any of the customers that you're monitoring within your CreditorWatch account have any bankrupt individuals either associated with them as a sole trader or potentially even directors. So before we kick off exactly what is Bankruptcy Plus, I just wanted to run a really quick poll to get an understanding of how many of you currently utilize Bankruptcy Plus. That way I can just tailor the message accordingly. If it's a 50-50 split, then it won't make a huge difference. But if you're all using it or you're all not using it, then obviously I'll change my approach. Okay, great to see. Vast majority of you are not using Bankruptcy Plus, so that's good. So I can be pretty clear with what I'm trying to explain here. I don't have to repeat myself, or sorry, the people who are using it as well are not going to find that I'm repeating myself too much. So what is Bankruptcy Plus exactly? So based on a lot of customer feedback, and that's really how CreditorWatch has always operated, with that constant feedback loop of information coming from our customers through our sales teams, through our support teams, up to management and whatnot. We wanted to launch a bankruptcy-related product, and hence Bankruptcy Plus is what was born out of that. And really, it was about assisting customers to get a better understanding of the people behind a business, be it a sole trader, partnership, trust, or company. Bankruptcy Plus is ultimately designed to show you, are any of those individuals currently bankrupt, or have they been bankrupt before? What type of bankruptcy is it? Is it a debt agreement? Is it a person insolvency? That sort of thing. So we lobbied AFSA and got their support to access their database. And we now have current and historical bankruptcies going back 7 years. That database is updated on a 15-minute cycle as well. So we're updating, obviously historical ones or people who are being discharged, updating the notices that you can access. Plus we're adding new ones as well as they come in. So there's some really important information there, really targeted information on individuals around bankruptcy, which is fantastic from a credit risk perspective. So why do you need it? Obviously, so it's quite an easy subject to get your head around, particularly if you're either in the credit risk space, a credit risk manager, and or using CreditorWatch itself. So historically, bankruptcy searches haven't been performed for a couple of reasons. One, it was very transactional. You'd have to order an MPII bankruptcy search. That would cost anywhere from generally around $25 up, depending on what you were spending with your provider or where you were accessing it from. So quite expensive as a single report, and that would just give it on that single individual. If you've got a number of directors on a company, that starts to really add up very quickly. What we've done is we've integrated it into our own credit reports themselves. So when you're looking at a commercial credit report, you'll actually be able to see if that sole trader individual or directors, for instance, is associated with a bankruptcy, an existing one or a historical one. So we really focus on that user experience, making it easy for you to see that information in one go, in one search, rather than having to either log out into another platform or potentially having to go to a separate part of the site to order that one-off AFSA search. On top of the fact that they're integrated into the actual commercial reports themselves, you're also able to perform one-off searches as well. Again, all included in a monthly subscription that falls under that Bankruptcy Plus banner. So, for instance, you might perform a commercial credit check on ABC Proprietary Limited, see that none of the directors have any bankruptcies associated with them, which is great, but then the guarantee that has been signed on behalf of the company is a separate individual. It could be a small business, a new business, and the father is guaranteeing the debt, for example, or it could be just another individual altogether, not associated, not appearing in that commercial credit report, that is guaranteeing that debt. So what's fantastic about that is you can then go and run that check, that individual bankruptcy check on that person. So we've just got, as an example, guarantors there. There could be other partners involved as well. Part of your subscription, run those checks, get that additional surety that the people that are involved in this relationship are all above board. The other important reason that you'd want to be using Bankruptcy Plus is there is sometimes a bit of a disconnect between ASIC and AFSA. So AFSA are obviously the government body who are controlling the list of bankrupts, either current or previous bankrupts. They send that information over to ASIC to say to ASIC, hey, these individuals are currently bankrupt. They should not be directors of companies, for example. It's then up to ASIC to update their records and strike directors off or ensure that directors aren't actually directing a company as a bankrupt. Unfortunately, there are technological challenges there, but also simple name matching challenges that make this somewhat difficult to ensure it is 100% comprehensive. So what we end up with is it is possible for bankrupt individuals to still be operating as company directors and office holders, and that's certainly not something that, or not a company or an individual that you want to be dealing with, I would suggest, most of the time. Now, just on that sort of matching, what I mean by that is, for example, I could be going by the name of Patrick Coughlin with AFSA, and they have an address in Parramatta for me, and my date of birth is my actual date of birth. And then ASIC have a record of me as a director, but the name is Patrick Edward Coughlin. I've used my company address as my residential address, which is technically or legally, it is illegal to do that, but plenty of people do it. At the end of the day, they're just filling it out, or their accountant's filling out the form and submitting it to ASIC. And potentially I put in, my date of birth is 87 instead of 86. So those small little typos or potentially, malicious changes that I've put into my director record are therefore different to what AFSA have on file. And that's not going to match up nicely, and therefore I can continue to operate as a director. So CreditorWatch has worked quite hard on delivering algorithms that provide an especially high match rate, looking at very small changes between what ASIC have on file and also what AFSA have on file. And therefore, we're more likely to provide search results that match to those particular individuals who have been declared bankrupt, and that information is coming from AFSA. So you get that ability to not only have a little bit more surety around the fact that you're searching and finding the right people, but also the subscription-based model allows you to run multiple searches across people with similar names. So there could be a number of Patrick Coglins that turn up with similar date of births or addresses or suburbs, whatever it is, and you could actually check through those individually, not incurring a cost every single time you do that. So some bankruptcy insights that we've pulled from AFSA. So this is looking at last financial year. We obviously haven't got the results for this current financial year that's almost done already. So more than 30,000 bankruptcies in that 2016-2017 financial year period. This is a 2.1% increase on 15-16. Queensland is by far the worst of all the states, despite the fact that it probably has the third biggest population. One of the big reasons for that is downturn in property and also the property market, I should say, and also the natural disasters that they were hit with in that financial year has had a serious knock-on effect particularly for small businesses, people who are operating as sole traders, or even those who had guarantees in proprietary limited companies have unfortunately been faced with declaring bankruptcy as a result of those natural disasters that took place. Notable increases that we're seeing: WA, we've seen an increase of almost 21%, Northern Territory 20%, ACT 10%, and South Australia 7%. So if you are operating in those areas, obviously take note. If you're operating, with businesses in those areas, also important for you to keep an eye on. And we'll obviously get up-to-date statistics and insights from AFSA as they release them, particularly with the end of financial year upon us. I believe they also release quarterly updates, so we're going to try to get that into our small business risk review as well. As always, please do communicate with us if there's anything out there that you think would be worthwhile adding to our quarterly small business risk review, or anything that you would like to see a webinar on. Hit us up, contact us, social, or just call into the main switch, and we're always waiting for that feedback. So next poll I'm going to run is bankruptcy information important to you? Do you take this into consideration? Would you take it into consideration if you're currently not, accessing any information around bankruptcy? Potentially you don't find it, important at all, which is, certainly not the wrong response. Always good for us to get a bit more feedback as to why. If you do put no, I might ask that you also maybe put in a note just in the question section, just letting us know why. We're always keen to hear that feedback. And something that I should have mentioned at the beginning, there is that question section within your GoToWebinar control panel. So if you do have any questions, fire away, and we will get back to you in the next sort of 24 to 48 hours. So closing that poll, so yeah, that's generally what we expect and what we've seen previously. 95% yes, no, 5% of you. Would love to hear the reasoning behind no, because potentially there's additional data or reports that you think is important that CreditorWatch may be able to get access to for you. So thanks again for the survey, and let's keep going. So just a bit of a recap. Nothing here that you probably aren't familiar with. So we're really just trying to identify the creditworthiness of individuals. Searches are coming through in CreditorWatch, but you can also run individual checks. There's the ability to obviously save money if you are running those MPII searches or purchasing additional individual reports out there on a transactional basis. Our subscription model is a really affordable and accessible method to access and consume that information. And obviously, CreditorWatch, we pride ourselves on being a technology company first and foremost. This Bankruptcy Plus product will continue to improve and be innovated on top of in time as well. So let's jump into CreditorWatch and have a look at what it looks like and how it works. So what I've done here, I've got three different examples of where Bankruptcy Plus information is going to show up. So we've got a proprietary limited company here with a nice clean file. They've got a good credit score, payment predictors ticking along fairly consistently. And what we're going to look at though is the individual themselves. So no other known cross directorships. However, we have flagged a possible bankruptcy. Click on here. This gives you the ability to say, yep, this is the same person, this is the same director that we're dealing with, and click through to see a little bit more information. So we can see that Mr. Fitzpatrick had a personal insolvency agreement that was executed in 29th of the 8th last year. If we scroll down, we can see some more information around the agreement details itself. So the individual's property is no longer subject to control. The obligations of the personal insolvency agreement have been discharged. So it's a discharged bankrupt, done the time, but definitely something that you want to take into consideration if you were to have this person or this company come to you for a credit account. We can see that it is a fairly new business, in just over 3 years old. So again, trying to give you as much information as possible to take in and make that credit decision. The next one we have is a sole trader individual. Again, moderate risk score there that we've provided, and we are showing that there's a possible bankruptcy found. Click here. So again, we're going to give you more information on that bankruptcy that might match to the details on the credit report. You can then go in and view the report itself. So bankruptcy, there's a debtor's petition, and the summary of the details right here. This individual is an undischarged bankrupt. The last one we have here, another proprietary limited company with a good score. Scroll down to the director section, which is where we flag the bankruptcy information, and we can see that Anthony has a debt agreement in place. The debtor put forward a proposal to creditors for consideration under Part 9 of the Bankruptcy Act, and creditors have accepted the proposal. So again, you can see the information, check out the administrator details. We are seeing a lot more of these debt agreements in place off the back of what we're calling, debt consolidation businesses, credit repair businesses. No doubt, plenty of you, if you're in that credit management finance role, the feedback we're getting is that there's been a significant increase in the number of these organisations operating or working on behalf of an individual to clear, defaults off their credit files, for example, even in the case of, commercial instances as well. Now, if we wanted to just run a one-off search, we would jump into the additional reports section. And we can see here we have CreditorWatch bankruptcy search. So there's your standard MPII bankruptcy search that you would previously have potentially run. Now we've got this one. So this is where you could just put in any details. So let's put in New South Wales, click search, I'm a guarantor, and tick. Fortunately, nothing's come up there, so no bankruptcies found. If you'd put John Smith, for example, more than likely you would see a list of search results. Again, you could click through each of those different results to find out if that person matched the person that you were looking for those with names that are a little bit more common. I might just run one that I have run in the past. So we can see we've got a hit here. Jump in to have a look, sequestration order. We can see that the individual is no longer bankrupt under this administration. Okay. What's always good as well, most of the time you do get the contact details of the trustee. So if you wanted to inquire further, there's no harm in giving them a call to see if there's a little bit more information that you can acquire. But generally, you can see there's plenty of information that's provided here, including in this case the discharge reason and date. So debts have been settled. So no doubt the question on most people's minds is pricing. Subscription currently starts from about $150 per month. This is ultimately based on the number of customers you're monitoring. So very much like your CreditorWatch subscription, we base it off the number of customers that you're monitoring. There's generally, we know how many searches are being performed, that sort of thing. So again, a nice easy way to budget towards the costs. At the moment, we have that free trial running for our corporate customers. So they're people who are getting invoiced on a monthly basis, not for those that are paying on credit card. We will have an end of financial year offer. So it's a 2-week trial that's currently running. So I think it ends on the 20th. There will be a pop-up to signify that that has come to an end, with some options to take up a discounted Bankruptcy Plus subscription going forward. So please keep an eye out for that. If you're keen to move on it, sooner rather than later, then just get in contact with CreditorWatch or with your account manager or BDM that may be speaking to at the moment, and they can talk you through that offer as well. For those of you potentially in the debt collection space, or have a large ledger of individuals or guarantors, or potentially just have a large ledger of companies, and you're interested in doing a bankruptcy data wash against all of those individuals associated with those companies, or if you're buying debt, for instance, we do have a bankruptcy data wash option. So please, again, just reach out to us for a little bit more information on that. Generally, the way it works is you provide a list of those individuals that you want to run a wash against, and we'll come back and flag any that may be potential bankrupts, and then provide you further information on them going forward. So steps to activate. Good thing is it's already just been activated for you. So I'm glad that our super dev team were able to get that sorted for everyone. That's live now. So please jump into your CreditorWatch account, start running some searches, running some credit reports, see if it is flagging anyone that you're dealing with. Any questions, as always, 0281882025, or email admin@creditorwatch.com.au. Hit us up on our social channels, whatever the easiest way for you to get in contact is. Don't be shy. We're always pretty keen to help out where possible. From a questions point of view, I'm going to leave it for now. I will come back to you. If there are any that have come through. I haven't checked yet, but thanks again for joining us. One last poll, just for us to get some feedback on your thoughts on the webinar itself. Something we're doing after every webinar now. That way we can continue to improve. So thanks again for joining us. I will leave it there, and have a great day.